Welcome back. I've been working on a Landmark Structures rustic barn. So I'm going to put that together, do a little weathering on it, get it ready to go on the layout. And also I'd like to ask a couple of the scenes here, the camera got a little shaky. I have to get another tripod, and I'm not happy with it, but I think that you'll get the idea. So let's get over to the work table and put a barn together. Landmark Structures, the rustic barn. So I'm going to put that together and try to weather it. Let's look what's in the box. Here's a picture of the back of the box. Kind of shows you a little bit of how the structure goes together, the main pieces. And inside the box, very nicely done. Didn't have to take too much flashing off of anything. So we got the silo. They recommend, of course, the number 11 sharp X-Acto blade to trim the flashing off. A little bit of CA or your plastic glue. And I haven't decided if I'm going to paint the parts individually or maybe kind of assemble the sides of the barn, paint that out, and then do the roof a little bit differently. And that the silo is a concrete type silo, so that'll be a different shade of gray. Also in the box you get a small piece of thread and some windows, a thread for your pulley system that they have, your blackout material for inside. For some reason this box had two of them in it, and they provide you a little bit of some green finely ground foam if you want to add some moss type of detail to the roof on that. So let's put this one together. I decided to vary a little bit from the instructions. So I did primer all the pieces, and I took the four main walls of the barn. I decided to glue those together. I used the center section of the roof to make sure everything was squared up for me. So I'm going to let that dry. I kind of want to go for a grayish brown look on the barn. Look like a good weathering system. So I wanted to spray the four sides all together, and then I'll work on the roof separately. But here we are with this. So with the gray primer being on there, I'm going to try to use a kind of a brownish wash to try to give it just a little bit of a brown tinge to it. And the bottom of the barn has actually got a stone base, so I'll probably tape that off and then apply a brick brick colored paint to that. I've applied some washes. I really can't say I put any paint on it, but washes. I just used the primer as a base coat. Came back and used a wash of a black to get the cracks kind of a little darker, and then kind of a medium brown, but I almost dry brushed it on. Put that on. Did the concrete with some aged concrete down at the bottom, the stone work, and then came back with a little bit of a light gray and dry brushed that in spots. So got to think of the window treatments, the structure support for the doors and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to go with a darker brown or maybe try an aged white to do that. And we'll get the roof, start working on the roof and paint that out. Okay, before I get too far here, I want to show you the roofing area for the barn. I used a little bit of a darker brown color, sprayed that on, and then immediately came back with some alcohol. I gave it probably about 5 minutes to dry. Came back with some alcohol on a paper towel and rubbed across it, trying to get the edges to show the gray back through it again. The area where shingles are missing, used a little bit of a gray wash on that, and then came back with an ash pigment, the chalky, but the pigment, and rubbed that in good to give a little bit more detail and dull out the roof, show a little bit more weathering on it. Okay, I've got the barn put together, the rustic barn, and we've got it kind of sitting in the plot of ground that I want to put this on the layout. Not sure exactly where, but we're going to next start working on the fencing for around the farm area. I'm going to use easy thread to simulate the wire. There's a good YouTube video on it. So kind of go around, go up and around. Up in here I want to build one of those, I think they're called cattle guard. It's where they have the pipes, the posts are on either side, and then they have the pipes going in there. The cows, I guess, will not walk across that. They don't like that, so don't mind the junk in the back. That's the junkyard. We still have to work on that project. So anyway, there is the barn. That brings this update to a close, but hopefully I've given you some ideas and tips on putting the rustic barn together. My next one, I'm going to do the fencing and build a cattle guard, I think, or cattle gate. Look up here if you know what it is. I'm going to install that at the entranceway of the farm, and start putting up the fencing around that area. So thank you very much for watching. If you would like to, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notification, and hopefully we'll see you back here. Have a great day.